Shalom Hebrews, Shalom Hebrews. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Okay, Hebrews, what I want to explain is how it's important for our enemies to try to keep us wicked and on a level. You see, it's important for our enemies to try to keep us wicked and evil on a level. You see, they know that they rule and that they prosperity come in the Hebrews not worshiping the Creator, or or the Hebrews not believing in the Creator. You know, our enemies control come from us Hebrews not knowing the covenant or not even trying to follow the law. You know, they get their strength and their power from us being wicked with them. You know, their wickedness is long and enduring if we Hebrews participate in their wickedness. You know, it's like giving them a second breath. And, you know, that their wickedness would perish by the Creator direct if we Hebrews wasn't mixed up with them. You know, and it's like when we Hebrews was in Egypt, you know, it was like a learning experience. You know, some of the things that the Creator didn't want us to do, and He most definitely didn't want us to do the Canaanite culture or follow after the Canaanites, you know, the people who we was to destroy when we come out of Egypt. You know, and then it go to show you that we was not on the level of wickedness that the Canaanites was on, because it wouldn't have made no sense for the Creator to send us in there to destroy the Canaanite culture if we was the same as the Canaanites, or if we was on the same wicked level as the Canaanites. So they go to show you that we wasn't like our enemies who the Creator sent us to destroy. And how about the culture that existed back then? The evil and wickedness can be traced to a people that still exists today, that existed in the past, and who we can clearly call our enemies, because the Creator told us to destroy those people, the Canaanites, and their culture. Well, the Canaanite culture reigns supreme today. And the people who set up the Americas and its institutions and everything can be traced to Babylon. You know, I know the Creator said that He would send us to Egypt in ships, and this is Egypt, this Americas. You know what I'm saying? It's Egypt too, because the medical practices and how they, you know, do the medical things, it's from Egypt. You know, the whole understanding of the medical field is based on Egypt concepts. You know, from, I don't care if it's dentistry, dealing with the eyes, brain surgery, heart surgery, whatever, cloning and everything. The Egyptians did it all. The Egyptians even was trying to fool around with them hybrids, and that's gonna be some half humans and some half animals as depicted on a walls and stuff inside they pyramids, and you know, that just they walls period that's been preserved to the day. You'll see a human body with a dog head on it. Okay, the Egyptian culture was about like on the same wickedness as the Amorite culture, the Canaanite culture. You know, the Amorite culture extended from the Nile all the way to Mesopotamia, and that was the culture that we was to destroy when the Creator brought us up out of Egypt. And then we was going into the land to inherit the land that the Creator had promised to Abraham, our father Abraham. And check this out. Our father Abraham, our father Abraham lived in the area, in the Mesopotamian area. Chaldea was founded by the Assyrians. You know, the Assyrians founded Chaldea, and our father Abraham lived there. And you know what I'm saying? I got all that history in some more videos. You know, but our father Abraham was told to get away from that Amorite culture that was in Mesopotamia, and then that controlled Mesopotamia. You know, our father Abraham was told, you know what I'm saying, to get away from the Mesopotamia area because of the wickedness of the Amorites. You know, their iniquity was in full den. It was full den, and it was on the agenda to be destroyed by us Israelites. That's the job that the Creator gave us, but we didn't fulfill that mission. So the iniquity of the Amorites continued from back then to now today. You know, because the Amorites, you know, I've proved in countless videos, ain't nothing but the Sephardi Jews. You know, they from Sipper, Sipper and Sephardim. You know, that's where they from. And how about they are Amorites? And the Amorites, you know, Murray, if you see Murray, and all this is the whole control of the Amorites, you know, in the Mesopotamia area. You know, they was on the Tigris and the Euphrates, in between both of them. And Sephardim, I got countless videos showing how they was placed in Samaria and how we abandoned our heritage to some Babylonian scribes. Now, this is I'm gonna try to explain this, and I pray that you Hebrews get to understand it. The wickedness that's going on today can be traced back to ancient times, to the people who control Babylon. And, you know, I've showed how Babylon and Egypt had, you know, a correspondence and a strong relationship. Well, you know, before Egypt even got, you know, on the map and got started, you know, Babylon was around, and there was some people in Babylon that was recording its history, it's God's history. It is history of the whole functioning of Mesopotamia, whether it was in trade, religion, or so forth, you know. And that's going to be these people, you know, the Sephardims, you know. The Amorites are shown up off the Hamite family groups. But what is, you know, should be noted is that Canaan kids, the Canaanites, had Tazarat on them, and Tazarat is a what some mistaken as leprosy. It means that they was born with no pigmentation. And then, you know, I show in the videos how they would mix with the Amorites would mix with Cain seed, and how Cain seed, the Cain, the one who killed Abel, how his brother, you know, he was wicked and evil. And that's basically where all the evil and wickedness gonna come from, Cain's seed, because Cain wasn't given no instructions when he was driven out the garden, and then he went up into the Turkey part, or the Caucasus Mountain. You know, they got underground cities and caves. I got plenty of videos, you know what I'm saying, on this, how they got underground cities and caves. And that's where all the no pigmented peoples live. The peoples that didn't have no pigmentation would live underground for thousands of years, and how that they would just ravage the whole everything. And all the troubles come from those no pigmented peoples that lived underground. And then they, you know, it's proof to show that they mix with the fallen angelic beings. And they would tell you too, man, they'll tell you, man, in their history, in the Mesopotamian history, that the fallen angelic beings mix with the daughters of man, and that's gonna be Cain's seed. You know what I'm saying? And I got a little history on that too. You know what I'm saying? But let me show you this first, and then I'm gonna show you how we Israelites wasn't supposed to do the wickedness that our enemies do, because the wickedness that our enemies do is supposed to be destroyed by the Creator sooner or later. And then how they prolong and not being destroyed is by having us be wicked with them. You see what I'm saying? And we're going to have to break loose from that. You know, we're going to have to know where the origin of our wickedness come from, because, you know, the Creator wouldn't have sent us in to destroy the Canaanites if we was on the same level of wickedness as they were. So we had to be introduced into their wickedness, you know, in this history in the Tanakh to support this. And it's basically going to come from the times that we didn't destroy our enemies like the Creator said, and we let them folks parlay, and we let them folks kick it, and we let them folks survive and live instead of putting their lights out. And then how the Creator said that they will be a thorn in our side. Sure enough, they was a thorn in our side, and it was the combination of the Egyptian and the Babylonian Amorite culture that destroyed us and driven us into slavery. And we know that the level of wickedness that our enemies have today, that we didn't have that level of wickedness in Africa, even though we broke the covenant and it was on Egyptian, African, Sahara religions, you know, that cattle worship and so forth, but that our wickedness wasn't on the level that it's on now. So this wickedness had to be introduced to us. You see what I'm saying? At some point, and I can show you both points, and you know, this last point is going to be introduced to us, going to come from the slavery days. And we know after slavery that, you know, we was kind of like, you know, together, and the wickedness and the evilness that we do to each other didn't exist then. Yeah, them plantation games was still being played in our community. The games and how they put us against each other on the plantation, and some of them little traits still existed after slavery. But, you know, mostly we was together, and we had a sense of unity, and we knew who our enemy were, you know. And then our sophisticated enemies put some tricks down on us, you know, with that silver rights. You know, first they roughed us up and denied us everything, you know, that's gonna make you want. And then, you know, when they come with that civil rights stuff and trick Martin Luther King, you know, in the civil rights so-called movement that destroyed us and then introduced our enemies' wickedness to us and got us to the level of wickedness that they own. You know, and we're going to have to wake up as Israelites in order to be saved from their wickedness. And in order to be saved from our enemies' wickedness, we're going to have to wake up that we are Israelites and that we can't get down like our enemies do, and how us being wickedness is prolonging our enemies' wickedness. You know, the world really want to break from the evilness that's going on, and that's what the Asian nations like China and Russia and them trying to create their currency and dislodge themselves from the financial system that exists today under that dollar. You know what I'm saying? They got the Babylonian evil wicked signs on it. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you see that Annuit, that's a Babylonian god right there. You know, they'll try to trick you and tell you that it means something else, but Annuit is a Babylonian god of destruction in war. You see what I'm saying? And that's on the first dollar, where all dollars come from. Where them Asian nations like China and Russia and them folks, where they trying to dislodge themselves from this evil, wicked system, because this evil, wicked system is starting to destroy they culture and they society, and them people is not, the people that didn't participate in the transatlantic slave trade, they are not on the level of wickedness that the people in so-called Western culture is on. You see what I'm saying? But the people in the Western culture who control it is trying to get them ancient Eastern nations that didn't participate in the transatlantic slave trade, like Russia and China, trying to get them evil and wicked on their level. So then it'll be a complete system, and that's what those Babylonian scribes have been striving for since the Creator bust up the Tower of Babel and sent everybody in different directions with different languages. How the Babylonian scribes has been trying to reunite the world with that one world government stuff. You see what I'm saying? And then they can have everybody on the level of evil and wickedness. But I was talking about, them angelic beings mixing with the humans and stuff, and how, those angelic beings history is going to be recorded in Babylon, and it's a serious thing. How Prophet Moses had the history of Babylon, and we know Prophet Moses was born in Africa. You know what I'm saying? In Egypt. You see what I'm saying? And this is where Prophet Moses was born, in Africa, and how Egypt is part of the African continent, and how Moses was born in Africa and never went to Mesopotamia, but had the Mesopotamians' gods, the history that went on in Mesopotamia. You see what I'm saying? And this goes to prove that our history and the recordings of it was originally done by the Creator. Every part of it, because it's impossible for Moses to have been born here and never went to Mesopotamia, but knew the Mesopotamian history, and that's Genesis gave, what I'm saying, their history, and Moses was familiar with that. All right, if you go to Genesis, that's going to be Genesis 6. But we know that Cain killed his brother Abel, and the Creator and told him to get on down, and he had Tazareth put on him. He was a non-pigmented people, and then I go in other videos show you that word fair means white. You see what I'm saying? And how, that these folks who these angelic beings mixed up with is going to be some no pigmented peoples and stuff. You see what I'm saying? As I proved in the other videos, how the Nephilims and Rephilims, the giants, were the Amorites, and the Amorites had mixed up in them, and how you can trace them easily back to the Jews through the Amorites. The Sephardims are their final descendants, and the Sephardims is the Hebrew word for Sephardic, and Sephardim. All right, but you see, and it come to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, they ain't had no pigmentation, and they took them wives, all which they chose. Now, as I've shown in other videos, that before those angelic beings come into those non-pigmented peoples, that the rest of the peoples, the pigmented peoples, was living 800 and 900 years. 800 and 900 years. And then after those angelic beings mixed in with those non-pigmented peoples, how the Creator said that he was going to cut man lifespan down to 120 years. Now, before the non-pigmented peoples mixed in with the pigmented peoples was living 800 and 900 years, 500 and 600 years. And then that gene to cut lifespan down was in the non-pigmented peoples, and then when the non-pigmented peoples mix with the pigmented peoples, that brought the the short span on Earth, your lifespan down. You know what I'm saying? And that's why come them folks be wanting to mix real bad, because they know that they wasn't given, that the Creator had cut their lifespan down, to 120. And basically how we affected with those folks. You know what I'm saying? And they mixed in with us and stuff. And that what cut human lifespan down and stuff, because those, non-pigmented peoples, who, is on the level of the beast, and how they all the sicknesses and diseases and so forth, can be traced to them and stuff, especially coming up out those Caucasus Mountains and so forth. But those giants, I trace in all those verses right there. Numbers 13:33, and Joshua 13:12, 12:24, Deuteronomy 3:11, Joshua 17:15. All that show that the giants, mixed with them Amorites, and the Amorites and the giants were like one people and stuff, and how that the Sephardi's are descended from them. But as I show you that the angelic beings mixed in with the Hermans, and that's gonna be where some of the wickedness come from. Check this out. You gonna hear them say it. You know what I'm saying? Themselves.
Back to a simple single word of translation: gene. The evidence of the ancient texts, Mesopotamian as well as biblical, suggests that the process adopted for merging two sets of genes, those of a god and those of Homo erectus, involved the use of male genes as the divine element and female genes as the earthly element.
See, that's just what it said right there. You know what I'm saying? That the sons of Yah saw the daughters of man, that they were fair, and they took them wives, all which that they chose, and then out popped them Nephilims and Rephilims, the Amorite culture, and then that's gonna be where all the wickedness come from, and it's outlined in the scriptures. You see what I'm saying? It's outlined in the scriptures, because the Creator tell us the things not to do. We wasn't introduced to none of that wickedness, like I say, when we was in Egypt. And then when we come out of Egypt going into the promised land, you know what I'm saying, under Prophet Moses and Joshua, the Creator was telling them to tell us that not to do a whole bunch of traits, and that those traits were what the people in the land who we was going to destroy did, and how that we shouldn't do none of their wickedness, because that's what was getting them destroyed. Guess what, Hebrews? Them people would have been destroyed if we would have followed what Prophet Moses said and what the Creator said. It wouldn't be no wickedness on earth. The whole earth would be a paradise right now. The whole earth would be a paradise as it was at one time. You know what I'm saying? The whole earth will be a paradise, and none of this wickedness would be going on. But because we broke the covenant and ran into Africa and kind of like dipped from the scene, that all this wickedness and evilness been thriving for a long time, and how we Hebrews still got a job to do. And that's to get rid of this wickedness and evilness that's on this earth. And we do that by coming into our Israelite heritage. I got plenty of videos showing how we broke the covenant, and that the people from the transatlantic slave trade is most definitely the Hebrew Israelites. That's without a question of a doubt, that we the Hebrew Israelites. And then, that's like, I'm going to hit on this real quick, and then I'm going to jump into the scriptures, how those other Israelite organizations be using the Jewish history and the Jewish myths that our enemies created to mislead. It's like I explained also in the videos, to how our enemies got like 4,500 years of government writing, administration, and dealing with science, government, everything, dictionaries, creating words, encyclopedias, and creating words, and the meaning of the words, and what's accepted as good history and bad history, or what's evil in history and what's not evil in history, that's been in the total control of our enemies, who were Babylonian scribes, and how the whole Western culture, what they call Western civilization, our enemies are responsible for. These people right here, they're responsible for the whole Western civilization. And it's like the Greece, the Roman and Greek, the Greek and Roman culture gonna be a spin-off of the Babylonian culture, as well as an Egyptian culture, but the European culture gonna mostly come from the Babylonian culture, from these peoples up in here kicking it up in Turkey and then going around to the Zagros mountain and then coming into Babylon from the back, and how the European nations is this dude named Yafet Hayek, Yafet Nimfat Hayek, and how did they say that he was in Babylon, and how Nimfat Hayek is from Armenia, and then from Georgia you go all the way to the Caucasus, to the Ukraine, and you know what I'm saying, and all parts of Europe. You see what I'm saying? And Eastern Europe and Western Europe, and that's where all them devils was. That's where all the devils was, and they had underground cities from Turkey that went all the way underground, that all throughout the whole Europe, all the way up to London, underground cities, and how did them devils live underground, and they didn't have no pigmentations, and how did they would come around and lodge in Babylon, and then that's how the Western culture was spread to the west of the world by those non-pigmented peoples living in Babylon, and then going back to Europe, setting up their evil, wicked culture, and then taking it to the West, to the Americas. You know what I'm saying? And that's how the evil and wicked Western civilization got to America. And then I'm gonna show you how the first synagogues that was set up in this country, how we, the descendants of the slave trade, built, and how that represent a Babylonian institution being set up on this soil. Whenever they set a synagogue up, they setting up a Babylonian institution. All right, so we see how the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and how that these folks even tell you men in so many words. You know what I'm saying? They love to tell you the truth and then cover it up real fast.
Repeatedly
To see
asserting
how
that the
small
deity
G
created
is.
Adam in his image and in his likeness. The book of Genesis later describes the birth of Adam's son Seth in the following words: "And Adam lived 130 years, and had an offspring in his likeness and after his image."
All right, but we know that them folks, you know what I'm saying, them angelic beings mixed with them Amorites, them Canaanite tribes, and that's where all the wickedness gonna come from, as explained in Babylonian history, and that's where they come from. All right, now look here. Now, when we know that the prophet Abraham was told that he would get the land of Canaan, and then how he came down to Egypt, and then how he left from Egypt and went into the land, and how he had Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob, and then how our father Jacob and his sons would eventually go to Egypt. I show you how in the other videos how prophet Joseph interpret the Pharaoh's dream, and how Pharaoh was slick and gave him Asenath. After Joseph answered Pharaoh's dream, he was given Asenath, and then from Asenath, you get the tribe of Ephraim and Manasseh. That's mostly where our wickedness and our evilness come from, off that Egyptian union, and the offsprings of that, from Joseph, being with Asenath. Our wickedness can be traced from them doing the Egyptian worship, and I outlined this in a whole bunch of videos. Okay, when we was going out of Egypt, we know that Prophet Moses, come about, when the people from Lower Egypt took over and they didn't know Joseph, and they put us in the little bondage that we was in, and then how, we come up out of Egypt through the grace of the Creator, Almighty Yah, and then how we was going into the promised land. And we had difficulties going into the promised land, and we gave Prophet Moses a hard time, but eventually, we got to start to going. And before we got there, the Creator had outlined some ordinance that he was telling us that he did not want us to do, and that if we did any of these things that our enemies was doing, that we was going in to destroy, how we would eventually be destroyed. And I'm gonna go into some of this evil and wickedness, you know what I'm saying, and this evil and wickedness thrives today, and how our enemies need us to be evil and wickedness. And that's why come all the evil and wickedness is kind of like geared towards us Hebrew Israelites, and how our enemies, they can't make it if we don't be wicked, and how the Creator would have probably been destroyed they evil wicked system long time ago, but because we broke covenant and fell out of grace, that put everything on pause, that our enemies can't be destroyed if we wicked like they is, and that gives our enemies life. You see what I'm saying? And then that's like how I showed it, how all that old wicked gay stuff come into our community from the Hebrews, from the Hebrews living amongst them Jebusites, and the Jebusite Amorites, and how that they influenced the tribe of Benjamin, and how almost got them knocked off. Where them same people that turned the tribe of Benjamin out, that had that prostitution, temple prostitution, and so forth, is here today. And how that they pushing that same agenda in the Bible, that evil and wickedness is how our enemies pushing that same agenda, and then they try to tell us that it's okay to be evil and wicked. It's okay to be gay, and it's not bad. And how did they not say that it's wrong to persecute them evil and wicked folks, and how did they try to tie their equality and progression into the civil rights movement. All this wickedness and evilness sprung up off the civil rights movement, when so-called Martin Luther King and them folks were so-called marching to get us some equality and some justice. Well, that was planting the seed. The enemies who control us been controlling us since the slavery days, and who been controlled, and who was in control of Babylon for thousands of years, and who set America up, that they know how to get one schism started off another one. From our so-called liberation and freedom and being able to move around, doing the civil rights movement, and that how all the other evil and wickedness can be connected to that, and how that they tried to make our movement and our accomplishment and our goal for freedom is tied into them gay folks movement and stuff. That's how slick our enemies is. And then they make it seem like that if you persecuting them devils and they evil wickedness, that is doing us wrong. You see what I'm saying? And how we should be upset about people being in disagreement with that ancient wickedness that go all the way back to Babylon and to Canaan, because the same people who are in control of the media, in control of the money, and in control of this whole nation, that is patterned after the Babylonian constitution and functioning, the Hammurabi code, and how this country is functioning off the Babylonian, Hammurabi code, and how that our enemies is trying to push their evil, wicked way on the world by using us as the pedestal. You know what I'm saying? They got us on high and try to say that, because we being treated and wicked, evil, and being denied certain rights, and that how we are pushing for equal rights, and then how that's tied into the gay folks' rights too. That's how our enemies is evil and wicked, and they got the power to do that because they control this whole country from its schools, institutions, all the way up to the food chain. All right, Hebrew, some of these things, this is what the Creator told us not to do. He told us not to be like them folks, them folks that was in Canaan, whose culture went from the Nile all the way to Mesopotamia. And the Elohim spake unto Moses, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Elohim, your Yah. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwell, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, where I bring ye, shall ye not do. Neither shall ye walk in their ordinance. You know what I'm saying? Neither shall ye walk in their ordinance. Ye shall not. Ye shall do my judgment and keep mine ordinance to walk therein. I am the Elohim your Yah. Ye shall keep therefore my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. You see what I'm saying? Because if we doing the culture and the wickedness of our enemies, which is that gay stuff, which is anti-creation, and then that's going, bring everything to ruins. In our whole enemy's culture, when you sum it all up, it's for destruction and death. You know what I'm saying? And that is no prosperity and no good. Even though, it might look good from the beginning, but when it get to the end, it ain't nothing but destruction, and that's what our enemies represent. Destruction. You know what I'm saying? And some of these things, that the Creator told us not to do, they doing today. And it's prevalent. Look, none of you shall approach unto any that is near of kin to him, to uncover their nakedness. The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shall thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad. Even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. The nakedness of thy son's daughter, or the daughter's daughters, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. For there is then own nakedness. The nakedness of thy father's wife's sister and daughter, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. She is thy father's near kinsman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, for she is thy mother's near kinsman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother. Thou shalt not uncover approach to his wife. She is then aunt. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law. All these old wicked things and stuff is prevalent in the Israelite, community right now today. And then how we hold up some of the wickedness that we do as if it's a trophy and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's like in the rap community. They got all these videos about stealing another brother's wife, stealing your neighbor's wife, cheating and being low down and evil and selling dope. You know what I'm saying? How they done made all that into something positive in our community. That junk is evil and wicked, but that, go to show what the Creator said, that our enemies will be a thorn in our side. Look, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law. She is thy son's wife. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter. You know what I'm saying? It's like a whole bunch of these old evil, wicked dudes would be happy. Man, I go with the mama and I go with the daughter. You see what I'm saying? Man, that's pure evil and wickedness. And we got all this evil and wickedness after the slavery days, and then after the civil rights days. They started putting their evil and wickedness on us. And that's what the whole civil rights movement was about, to get us in a position to start receiving the evil and wickedness that'll keep us destroyed. You know, our enemies want us to be destroyed with them. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter, neither shalt thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness, for they are her near kinswoman. It is wickedness. Thou shalt, neither shalt thou take a wife to her sister to vex her, to uncover her nakedness, besides the other in her lifetime. Also thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness. That's talking about a woman in her period. How about Hebrews? I had a brother tell me that that's what he be looking for, trying to find a woman, you know what I'm saying, going through her natural cycles, and how, you know, that he would prefer laying with a woman, you know what I'm saying, when she in those conditions, man. And I swear I wanted to blow his head off with the shot. So evil and wicked, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, something happened to that brother. You know, something happened to him too, you know, and he was real evil and wicked. You know what I'm saying? I knew him, you know, from a youth. And he was evil and wicked all the way up to the time that the Creator got him. Look, also thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness. Moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife, to defile thyself with her. Thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech. You know what I'm saying? That's that abortion stuff. You see what I'm saying? And how did the enemies got us so messed up? Our enemies got us so messed up, Hebrews, and then they put their financial conditions down on us, and then we living in poverty and stuff. And then what they say, well, you can't raise a kid if you can't feed him. And how we go burn our kids up to Molech when you take them to the Planned Parenthood. Ain't nothing but Molech, you know, giving your seed to Molech. And how that they been doing the abortion things under different titles since the ancient days. You know what I'm saying? And how that they got us running to burn our kids up to Molech, because we say we can't feed the kids a pack of noodles, top ramens, you know. And we living in this culture, you know what I'm saying, that's like this, Hebrews. How about our enemies trying to destroy us with the immigrants? With the immigrants, and how they trying to squeeze our lights out. You know, we already poor and messed up and they ain't got nothing, and then they let an infusion of immigrants coming to the neighborhood, sucking up all the resources, all the jobs. And how did this driving some of us to destruction? Being homeless, you know, being poor is bad health. You know what I'm saying? Being poor is bad health. You have to eat all the unclean things. And how enemies trying to destroy us by letting all them immigrants into our neighborhoods and stuff. You know what I'm saying? All right. Look, thou shalt not lie. Look, thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination. And they got that so highlighted, where they got all the Hebrew males, they want to be gay, and pushing that agenda. But I show in the book of Jeremiah, towards the end, I'm going to try to put that history in, how prophet Jeremiah said that the Babylonians will all turn to women. And that's what they trying to do. You know, they trying to turn the Hebrew males into females. And then they want us to think that that's okay, and that it's okay to be like that. And that how they making laws that if you talk about that evil wickedness and evil abomination that the Creator outlined it before these folks even set up, that the Creator was already against that, evil and wickedness, and how enemies say that that's wrong to talk about them. Them folks crazy. When we come into our Israelite heritage, we putting their lights out anyway. And them Hebrews that's messed up like that, y'all better straighten y'all ways up, because soon as this country collapse and you get among some Hebrews in our community, your lights going out with that evil wickedness. We gonna put that stuff out, and they know it too. That's why they trying to get all the Hebrews messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So all of them can be destroyed. But just like to say, thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is abomination. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereunto. It is confusion. Defile not yourselves in any of these things. For in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. You see, that's why the Creator was sending us in to destroy the Canaanite culture that had all those evil, wicked traits, and it go to show you that we wasn't like that, and how we was different, and how we can still be different. We can still be different, Hebrews. All you got to do is come into your Israelite heritage. All you got to do is come into your Israelite heritage, and that evil wickedness cease. That's why come they don't want you to be no Hebrew Israelite. Because they know that once you turn back into your Hebrew Israelite heritage, that all that evil and wickedness cease. It stops. It stops right there. Soon as you wake up and realize that you a Hebrew Israelite, that all that wickedness that they've been putting on us is like washed away. And our enemies know this. That's why come they have to keep us evil and wicked, and how they rule come from us being evil and wicked like them, because they end will come fast. You know what I'm saying? And it'll basically come by us. So just imagine if the enemy got the people who are out to destroy them on the same evil, wicked level that they on, then they can't be destroyed. Our enemies can't be destroyed. And then that's like the rainbow colors. Ain't this an evil, wicked abomination how the Creator set the rainbow colors as a token to the earth that, he wouldn't destroy it like he destroyed it back then, and how these evil, wicked folks done took the rainbow color and image and symbol and then turned it into some wickedness, like they taunting the Creator, saying, yeah, you ain't gonna destroy us. But you know what I'm saying? And them people is real wicked. I'm talking about, man, they wickedness go so deep. And it's kind of like our fault, because if we Hebrews wouldn't have broke the covenant and ran into Africa and then got enslaved, and then, this stuff would have been stopped. We'd have been put it into this old evil wickedness and stuff. All right. And the land is defiled therein. I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomit out her inhabitants. You know what I'm saying? Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination. It is an abomination. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. It is abomination. Defile not yourselves in any of these things, for all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you, and the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomit out her inhabitants. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. That's like this country. All this evil and wickedness that's in the past is here now today in full bloom, because the people that we didn't destroy in the past control America, and they so slick and cold that they can hide out of sight. You see, because they set the foundation of this country up, and once you set the foundation up, The country is, yours, no matter what. And they are the landowners. And how about that them folks been making the rules, and it's like all your judges and your lawyers back in the days come from them folks. Come from these folks, them Jews, you know what I'm saying? And how did they set this country up? And how did they whole go from setting this country up was to get it on the level of the Canaanite culture and the Babylonian culture, and that's been their whole goal. That's like some of those non-pigmented peoples ain't down with that stuff, and they is against what these folks are doing, and how that they pushing that stuff even over on them, and how that some of them ain't even with it, and how they hate it, but they are powerless because they caught up in that life cycle. You see what I'm saying? And it's kind of like this, the non-pigmented people look at these people as the chosen people. You see what I'm saying? So whatever they come with, these Sip Hardys, whatever they come with, and even culture that they come with, that the rest of the non-pigmented peoples have to accept it, because they accepted them as the chosen people, and they get their power from that. People walking around thinking that they are the founders and the creators of everything, and that they got that power from the Sephardims, and how that they don't want to expose them. So they put up with that evil and wickedness. But it's some non-pigmented peoples that ain't with that old stuff. You know what I'm saying? That they don't want to, be destroyed, and how they love women and stuff. All right. For all these abominations for all these abominations have the men of the land done which were before you, and the land is defiled, that the land spew you not out. Also, when you defiled it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them, shall be cut off from among his people. Therefore shall ye keep mine ordinance, that ye commit not any one of these abominable customs which were committed before you, that ye defile not yourselves therewith. All right, so the Creator told us don't fool with them Canaanite folks, don't mix up with them, and don't do none of their evil and wickedness. But we didn't listen to the Creator. You know what I'm saying? We ain't listen to the Creator, and we got our mouth tore out. And then this is, if you go to the book of Judges, this is kind of like the foundation of when that evil and wickedness, you know what I'm saying, kind of, got started with us, because we know that after we Exodus with Prophet Moses, he wasn't having none of that. And then up under Prophet Joshua, you know what I'm saying, he wasn't having none of that, and how we were starting to go to get into the land. But this is what happened, you see, because our enemies is real slick, and our enemies know that if they introduce a party to us, that will stop all holy motion. You know what I'm saying? That's like the motion to destroy them and get rid of them. All they got to do is introduce a party to us, a party, and we'll abandon all holy ideas and thoughts and go party. And how we've been like that for a long time. Look, all right, this is what happened to us. All right. As we started to get into the land, started to come into the land, you know what I'm saying, that how we didn't drive out all those Canaanite tribes, you know what I'm saying? And then, Judges 1 give you a good history on how we let them folks parlay instead of destroying them, and then how, them people put their evil and wickedness on us throughout the whole Tanakh history, because we didn't destroy them, and we eventually got kicked out the land like the Creator said. Neither did Manasseh drive out the inhabitants of Beth Shean and her towns, nor Tanakh and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Dor and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Ibalim and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Midigo and her towns, but the Canaanites would dwell in the land. And Beth Shean is going to be Scythopolis. That's where the Scythians set up at. You know, the people who chased us into Africa. The Scythians, Ashkenazi, you know, they were set up in Beth Shean is Scythopolis, you know, and that's where, you know, a lot of devils was. Look, and it come to pass when Israel was strong that they put the Canaanites to tribute and did not utterly drive them out. You see, we were strong, but we didn't destroy them. That was our mistake. They was introducing party into us. Neither did Ephraim drive out the Canaanites that dwell in Gezer, but the Canaanites dwell in Gezer among them. Neither did Zebulun drive out the inhabitants of Kedron, nor the inhabitants of Naholel, but the Canaanites dwell among them and became tributaries. Neither did Asher drive out the inhabitants of Okar, nor the inhabitants of Zidon, nor of Halab, nor of Achazib, nor of Helibah, nor of Haphek, nor of Rehob, but the Asherites dwell among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land, for they did not drive them out. Neither did Naphtali drive out the inhabitants of Bishmesh, nor the inhabitants of Bethnath, but he dwelt among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land. Nevertheless, the inhabitants of Bethshmeth and of Bethnath became tributaries unto them, and the Amorites forced the children of Dan into the mountains, for they would not suffer them to come down to the valley, but the Amorites would dwell in Mount Hur, Hajalon, and Shebalim. Yet the hand of the house of Joseph prevailed so that they became tributaries. So we still jacked them Amorites up, but we didn't destroy them. And the coast of the Amorites was from the going to Acharim, from the rock and upward. And an angel of the Elohim came unto Gilgal to Bitham and said, I made you to go up out of the Egypt and have brought you unto the land which I swore unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you, and ye shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land. Ye shall throw down their altars, but ye have not obeyed my voice. Why have ye done this? Wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be a thorns in your sides, and their gods shall be a snare unto you. You know what I'm saying? And sure enough, in the end, they gods became a snare unto us. You know, we was messed up on the enemy's gods. You know what I'm saying? That's like right here. You know what I'm saying? First Kings. You know, this gonna be, you know, where and there was also Sodomites in the land, and they did according to all the abominations of the nations which the Elohim cast out from before the children of Israel. You know what I'm saying? That was under Rehoboam. You know, Rehoboam, you know, it go like this. You know, when Solomon with first Joshua, you know, we go get in the land. He passed, we go to all kind of bondages because we didn't destroy our enemies, like the Creator said. We was in 275 years of bondages, and we was all messed up, you know, and then our enemies, you know, the ones that we didn't destroy, was kind of like getting us tangled up. And then we got out of that tangle when Samuel, the prophet Samuel, come about, and then Saul, and then King David, you know, from 1100 BC Samuel to the end with King David, 971 BC. Man, it only represent like 130 years of trying to follow the covenant and do right. And then with Solomon come on, how Solomon took us down through there. Solomon took us down through there, and then how we never did get right but one chance. And that's with King Josiah. 300 years later, after Solomon passed in 931 BC, after he had chased Jeroboam into Egypt. Jeroboam was from the tribe of Ephraim, and he was welcomed with his evil, wicked relatives in Egypt, because they know, them Egyptians, that we was going to put their lights out. If we did the covenant, the Egyptians couldn't do trade with the evil relatives in Mesopotamia, or in the Mesopotamia area. Long as we did that covenant, the Egyptians couldn't come across, and it was like the curtains of Egypt, and how we were slick finna kill the Egyptian and Canaanite Amorite culture that went all the way from Babylon to the Nile Euphrates, and how the Creator gave us that covenant right there in the middle of all that wickedness was to get rid of all them. All we had to do was not do what they do and not fool with them. Then they couldn't come across the land. They couldn't come across the land of Mesopotamia going to Egypt, and the Egyptians couldn't go to Mesopotamia. And that was going to be the end of all them, because they all needed each other. You know what I'm saying? But, we didn't do that. And how, our enemies took us down through there. But like I said, from when Jeroboam got chased into Egypt, and then he come out with them two golden calves. After the golden calf ain't nothing but Ra, Ptah, and that Amun religion, and it's, that the calf is like what the cross is to Christianity, and how that what the golden calf was, what the other religions, combined, about 5 of them, and how he put that on the northern kingdom, and how that stayed on us all the way to from 931 to around about 640 something, when King Josiah started to clean it up, and how he was a prophecy king, and how he cleaned up the whole kingdom. And I show you Hebrews in the other videos how it wasn't no 10 lost tribes, and how all those are myths, and how our enemies basically been ruling off lies. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when the Hebrew Israelite ain't doing the covenant, then our enemies can tell lies. You know what I'm saying? And that our enemies' lies become believable. If we not doing the covenant and telling the truth on this earth, then our enemy lies become believable, and then that's what's been ruling the world and having the world in hostage to lies and stuff. That's the picture of Nietzsche. This obelisk is in Central Park. Prophet Moses would have seen it. It was put up at the beginning of our enslavement in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Them Nubians threw that obelisk up, and it represent our oppression, abortion, and whatever hardship that the Egyptians put on us, that America do. That's what that obelisk represent. And they brung it over, from there, and it was from Heliopolis. That's the same obelisk that our ancestors would have seen in Egypt when we was in bondage in Egypt. It is in Central Park. And then that's a statue of Nietzsche. Nietzsche gonna be the satyr king that them Assyrians put on the throne, who the tribe of Ephraim was kin to. Well, Nietzsche would have King Josiah killed in our last days. It's like the book of Jeremiah is our last history for the 99% us that ran into Africa during the Babylonian Wars, and how did this evil, wicked dude Nietzsche had King Josiah killed and put us back on the Egyptian religion, and then we will be driven out the promised land by Ashkenazi under the name Scythian, and then how we will be enslaved in Africa, eventually, and that's what the transatlantic slave trade is, and how we was brung to the Americas, and how our enemies put that same evil wickedness that was on us in the promised land, they put it on us now, and trying to keep us evil and wicked like them so they can continue to rule. Like I say, they rule instantly in when we come into our Israelite heritage, and they know this. We got some enemies, some ancient enemies, and how our enemies been pulling a fast one on us for a long time. And they most important thing is to try to turn the tribes of Israel into some gay folks. It's no recover from that when you go down that lane. You see what I'm saying? And that's the ultimate lane. You know what I'm saying? That's like, that old Norjal, God gonna stand for that gay stuff, the dunghill cock. Everybody know that a cock's supposed to represent a male penis, and then the dunghill with the cock sitting on it is a slick image for the gay folks, the ancient image for the gay folks. I'm gonna bring some of them images up, and they come from Babylon, and how all the gods would be, the Babylonian gods would be intertwined into that evil and wickedness, and how that the people from Mesopotamia, who we abandon our heritage to, got all the ancient wickedness going on today. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they want to flood us with other people and keep us mixed up to where we don't have no unity, and that if you get some unity, that the other people look at you bad, like you ain't supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like this, Hebrews, our enemies bringing all these other Africans over, trying to marginalize what happened to us in the transatlantic slavery trade, and want us to think that we all on the same level, and that we all one, and and that we shouldn't focus on what happened to us in the past and all this stuff. Hebrews, we still in captivity, and our enemies got us in captivity with this false mentality that we have. We in prison, from having a false heritage about ourselves. That's the new prison. That's the new slavery. Is if you don't know who you are as an Israelite, it's the new slavery, and how our enemies rule through that. Because if you don't know who you are, then you can participate in their evil and wickedness, where they get their power from, and that keeps them in power and keep you destroyed. Some of these black folks so confused and so don't know what's going on, and they just trying to live. They don't care if they in the wickedness or if they out of the wickedness. They don't know. But you can come to a final a conclusion on which side to be on. It is when you wake up to your Israelite heritage. You ain't supposed to be with they evil and wickedness, and that's drawing the line and saying when you come into your Israelite heritage, because you can't be evil and wicked like our enemies and so forth. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Our enemies, you know what I'm saying? They want us to be evil and wicked, and our wickedness come from our ancient enemies who control this country, and how that they trying to put all the evil and wickedness on us that destroyed us in the past to keep destroying us. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. We're going to get it right.